Hello everyone, this is Plankera, and welcome to my universe. Today, we're going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. So last time, did a bunch of stuff on kind of the hair in this area. I think I have everything with this little side strand coming down here all worked out. I was checking it very thoroughly right before stream here, and I think it looks great. Before I jump into the next thing that I want to work on, I just noticed that this little bit up here was not connecting quite right on the top head turn. You can kind of see it's being a little bit weird. So I'm going to go in and fix that before I do anything else. So I just need to push it a little bit further this way. I'm going to line it up with the way it is down there. And then it also needs to be a little bit lower. Just a tiny, tiny bit, though. Enough so, and enough in just specific areas that I think I actually will not use the brush for that part. There we go. I still think that looks reasonably round. It's not making her hair look flat, so probably call that good. Just clean up the edges there, and let's test it out. See if it still looks good over here. Okay, and I think here, actually, what I'm looking at here is the length of the shadow here. Looks like it's the same from here to here, which means that because the head is going a little bit to the left, that it would actually be longer up there. So I want to test all of this just to make sure that I have everything lining up right. And indeed, it looks like I could stand to push this over to the side just a tiny, tiny bit. It doesn't need to go too far, and I want to make sure that all these other like little patterns in the hair, there's all these little light spots, don't squirm around too much. Honestly, that's probably why I had it there in the first place. Okay, but I think that looks pretty good. So I'll just repeat that up here. Just move it over a little bit. Just a tiny little bit. Make it look like the head is moving to the left just a little bit more than it was before. Okay, and up here I actually think that this part needs to be a little bit lower. Just scooch down like that. All these things have a particular shape and way of being to them. And then I need to fix up this here just because the way I angled this changed the way that looked, so let me push those all into place here. Make sure it's not getting all wrinkly. Looks like it might still be a little bit wrinkly. But I actually think that the angle is just like that to an extent. Yeah. Alright, I think that's good. Now I can go back to the connecting hair area. I see a couple of things I want to fix here. And with the way that this bang overlaps, I just want the angle of the little highlights here to kind of match better what's on the other end and make it look like it's being covered up a little bit more. It's a little bit hard to explain, but yeah. Yep, now it looks like this area is covering it as opposed to just kind of stretching over it. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. Okay. So the last thing that I wanted to work on before moving on to a new strand was right through here. I didn't quite finish that yesterday. I got a little bit tired. That's okay. I can finish it now. The other day, I was thinking about what makes Path to Nowhere's story appeal to me more than some other games that I've seen. And you know, not just the story, but a lot of other things around it. When it comes to most media with stories, I tend to be big on just the characters themselves and what they're doing. Or more so than what they're doing. Like, the plot just matters less to me than having very entertaining characters. And I think that is one thing that appealed to me with gacha games as a genre. I ended up playing several just because phone games were convenient when I needed to hold my newborn son at the time. And most of them just did not use that appeal in ways that appealed to me, at least. But I think what made it work here was just besides there being an actual game attached to it, which a lot of gacha games just have like super basic like turn-based stuff and not something that I'm super into. But just besides having an actual game attached to it, I think even the structure of the story, like even writing quality aside, just the structure of the story ends up working better here than some others. Just because the story itself, like even just the main story, does revolve heavily around the psychological condition of its characters. And so, since so many gacha games need to focus on side stories and stuff and don't necessarily expand their main story or a bunch of other stuff quite as often because they want to sell their characters. And so they want to make these side stories that revolve around the characters they're trying to sell. That I think that actually designing your writing and story and the themes of your story and all that around compensating for that actually makes sense. And so they literally designed their world and just what the overall feeling and story of the game was going to be about based on that, I think. And I don't think I've seen many other games that actually really focus on that. So I think that's why, at least for me, it ended up working better than a lot of others, and in a lot of cases, even a lot of other games. Just because having a game where you're just delving into the psychological state of the characters constantly and you're getting new ones frequently, I think it works well. And I do think it is something that set Path to Nowhere apart from other games. I'm honestly surprised it's not more popular. I guess it goes for a different kind of waifu appeal, in that the characters in this game are a little bit older and a little bit more mature looking. Though I say that, but even old lady archetypes are becoming more popular in gacha games, so what do I know? This is the kind of thing where I am not sure what is appealing in China, necessarily. As I do not live in China. And I have not researched those kinds of things, because I don't speak Chinese and all that stuff. It would make it hard for me to really get a good handle on that. Okay, so I was trying to line up certain parts of the hair with the diagonal a little bit better here. And I also didn't like the way that, or just how far it was moving, this area was moving to the left. So I pulled some of that back a little bit, and indeed, I do think it looks a bit better like that. So here I was comparing it to the left head turn. And I think I'm going to hide the ear again for just a little bit while I get rid of some crunchiness back there. It's like its current fixed location I think looks okay. But when it moves I kind of see some, I don't know, parts that don't look very good in that transition. So I just needed to move the ears to move that along. That is one thing that's very helpful to do if you get the chance of just, if you feel like you're stuck on something, just, remove some areas around it and see what's underneath. I think this advice is also very useful for illustrations, where if something looks off and you just can't place why, and it's behind something, try removing some of the layers in that area. So like, for example, if my character has long hair and her hair goes over her shoulders, and I feel like there's something weird about the arms, or where the arms attach to the body, or something like that, it's helpful to hide the hair layer for a little bit and draw what's underneath. It's like you don't have to worry. It's not a waste. It's definitely not a waste of time. It can feel that way sometimes, but if it helps the final product, it's not a waste of time. And it becomes so much easier to see what's going on when you actually just look underneath. This is something that I've been doing very often in the illustration that I'm working on for Path to Nowhere's anniversary art contest. And I hide the hair a lot, and just so I can see what's underneath. I've been trying to figure out where certain pieces connect to each other, and I get the feeling I'm going to have to hide her. I have it so that one leg is kind of on top of the other, and so I think I'm going to have to hide the leg on top in order to really feel what's going on there. So for here, I remember that, or for this part of the hair that I'm working on here, I remembered that yesterday I noted that I didn't have all of this moving a little bit to the left on this head turn, and I thought it was a good idea to do so. So now I'm trying to fix up this area and figure out where all of these strands should be going. trying to line it up with the top here, the upward turn. And this is where it's nice, not having the ears in the way. So I should have an easier time figuring out where everything needs to go, because I can see just the entire thing. Now, one thing to remember when you're drawing things that are going to be covered up by something else is that you don't have to be super perfectionist about it. I have this issue sometimes. I have to remind myself, no, it's going to be covered up. Just get the gist and move on. It doesn't have to look polished. It doesn't have to look that good. But as long as you know where everything needs to go, it'll be okay. But oh man, do I find it easy to get caught up in some of that. I see a problem, I should fix it. Wait, no, this is gonna be covered up. I don't need to worry about it. Stop it, brain. Don't need to worry about it. It'll be okay. So at this point, I'm checking both how the head going up looks and also how it looks when going with the original. So that this way I can hopefully line up where, or how far left I should push all of these hair strands. How far left I should push this texture, I guess would be another way to put it. The more that I can compare to the original, the better it will look. That's one thing that I have noticed a lot with this particular model. Because in the past, when I've worked on them, I try to get, the cardinals looking really good, and then I just use them as the guidelines for the corners. Which, makes sense. They're a good starting point. But I think the fact that I've been checking this diagonal a little bit more than I have in the past is resulting in a better model overall. Because after all, the original is definitely the only one that I know is 100% correct. Everything else is estimates based on my best judgment, and while I think my judgment is pretty good, it's not perfect. So the one that will always be the most accurate is whenever I go from here to wherever I'm trying to go. I think that's important to remember. So here I'm just comparing it to the left head turn, actually. And I'm trying to make it look like the strands are moving a little bit upward when the head tilts back. Just a little bit. I don't feel like I need too much upward movement here. But I think just a little bit will sell the turn just a little bit better. But the fact that I feel like I have everything lined up with the center here, along the diagonal, means that I don't want to push it too far. But I do think that looks a little bit better going from here to here. So I'm happy. I'm quite happy. So at this point, it's just kind of minor adjustments and all that good stuff. Well, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty good. So now the last thing is I just need to make this look pretty good. And all will be well. Oh man, that moves really far to the left. I wonder why it looks okay here. Okay, I'm gonna ask the mesh a question here. I want to know, when I was making this area, did I accidentally push anything to the right? I did. Okay, that explains it. Because one thing that I was looking at was, it's like, I do move everything here in this area to the left. Because their head is turning left, so it makes sense. And the amount that I'm moving it to the left I thought looked pretty good here. But when I went straight from here to here, like, the amount it moves is a lot. Like, it's a lot more than I was expecting. So what I was checking there was, when I went from here to here, did I accidentally push some of this texture to the right? And actually, now that I look at it closely, you can even see some of it going to the right. And that's not going to work here anymore. That's not going to work here at all. So I need to pull some of this back over to the left. And hopefully that will help me line things up at the corner. So at this point I'm just going to be going back and forth between here and here. And lining things up that way. I'll worry about checking the center after I get a little bit further along. Right now my goal is just to make things match up with the corner for the time being. Do a little bit of mesh consulting here. So let's see, the areas that I look at the most here would be this black area, this line, this highlight, and this line. So I think once I get those areas right, everything tends to look pretty good. So that tends to be my focus. And so far it looks like the black area is lining up, and so is that other strand. So at least they're all kind of in the correct place, mostly. But this area needs to go a little bit higher, I think. The angle needs to be a little bit flatter down here, and all that kind of stuff. Gotta pay attention to those angles, they're very important. Very, very important. Unfortunately, it looks like it all came together pretty quickly, because I think I'm already kind of in the polishing state, where everything is roughly in the right place, so now I'm just getting rid of any wrinkles I see and making sure that everything looks really nice in motion. And indeed, once I turn the ear back on, I think that should be fine. Yeah. There are a couple of areas that I wasn't quite so sure about, but with the ears on, it's totally cool. Alright. So this top line is the only place that I really see any problems. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make this top part a little bit thicker, and then I'll probably adjust this little shadow running down here. That little shadow's a bit hard to see, just because it's just a slightly different kind of purple, slightly cooler. But otherwise, it's still, you know, purple and fairly similar looking. Just one of those things that it's there to give me another thing to worry about, I swear. Just a small little guy here. Okay. I wasn't satisfied with the angle that it was going back into her hair with, so I wanted to adjust that just a little bit there. I've been thinking about writing a lot lately. And my husband and I have a term that we like to use when talking about writing stuff together, known as the pretentiousness budget. Which is how much you're able to talk about themes or just otherwise sound super pretentious in your writing before people start getting annoyed and stop reading. And overall, the pretentiousness budget, I think, is never zero. Like, to an extent, when people start a new story, they're kind of willing to listen to the author for a little while. But if it just keeps going and going, they'll start getting annoyed after a while. And we were talking about it today, relating it to characters. Where if a character has a distinct voice, and it really feels like the character is talking, as opposed to just the author preaching, then you get a lot more pretentiousness budget. And it's just kind of funny to think about, because I don't think people really like it when stories try to preach morality or whatnot to them. Like, I don't think people mind it as much when there's just ideas to think about, or if the story basically gives them room to disagree. But if they do feel like they're being preached to, they're more likely to get annoyed. And that's, you know, it sounds pretentious. That's why there's the pretentiousness budget. But one thing I was noticing is that it doesn't feel as bad when it just feels like the character talking. When it feels like the character is espousing their worldview, and the story doesn't bend over backwards to confirm or deny it. Or even better yet, if there are other characters that agree or disagree with it. Then you just have a lot more room to talk about various different ideas and, you know, maybe even get people to think about what you want them to think about. Nose itchy again this morning. So I'd been thinking about pretentiousness budgets in terms of some games and other media that I consume, and based on discourse in gaming right now, I think some studios are drastically overdrafting in their pretentiousness budget. And getting a little bit preachy, especially with real-world politics. But even outside of that, even when they're not super preachy, I just think of Arknight's writing. And as much as I love Arknights as a game, I can no longer read the story. They overdrafted on their pretentiousness budget so hard. And for them, it's not even necessarily the ideas that they're putting in and all that stuff. I think that is fine. I feel a little bit of pretentiousness overdraft in that they tried a little bit too hard to make Rhodes Island out to be the good guys. And that they can just do no wrong. But, overall, that's like the only complaint I have. No, it's like where the pretentiousness really comes in is just the sheer length of it. And that they talk in circles, and my husband had a wonderful analogy of just that it sounds like it was written by someone who is paid by the word. And so they just try to make it as wordy and obtuse as possible so that he can get more money. I don't know if this is how Hypergriff pays their employees, for the record. In fact, I'm willing to bet that it's not. It's just kind of how it's written, and it's kind of unfortunate. Because I really enjoyed reading Arknights' story for a while. It had a lot of chapters had some interesting ideas in it. But after a while, they just overdrafted on that pretentiousness budget, man, and it's deeply unfortunate. So if you're planning on writing a story or putting a story like in a game or anything of the like, pay attention to that pretentiousness budget. Your readers will thank you. And frankly, they will enjoy your writing a bit more too, if you really watch the amount of pretension that you're putting into your story. But again, a pretentiousness budget is a budget. It is almost never zero. And it's always a shame to waste resources that you have, so don't be afraid of being a little bit pretentious, maybe. Just be careful with it. Okay. I think I have the hair over here behind her ears looking pretty good. So now I can move on to the next strand. We're heading toward the back here, so there's going to be less and less to do, and I'm so excited. Actually, I think before I go back, I want to get this little strand since I never turned it off. Looking good. Which one are you? Oh yeah, that also reminds me that I should probably turn this back on at some point, but nah, I'll do it later. I never turned this one off, so I'll go ahead and do that little strand. Man, where did I put it? This one? Okay, there it is. Tiny strand. Okay. So for here, I needed to go up a little bit. So yeah, I think I can line it up vertically with what's going on in the upward head turn. That's all I was checking with all those weird movements there. Just let her swing her head around. I don't think I need to move him too much. Just kind of getting rid of any crunchies that I see here. Let me see, where does it connect here? Okay, I actually want it a little bit further to the left then. So perhaps right around there. I'll have to de-crunchify it a little, but that is fine. I can do that. Where'd it go? Tiny strand, here we are. It's easy to get lost in this sea of hair. Okay, I'll just slide this on up. Try to get the spacing on the triangles fairly even here. And try to keep the kind of roundness that was on the strand before. That's what I'm checking now. There we go. I'm not quite sure about right there, but I will check that. Oh my. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to consult the mesh because that's a mess there. In fact, it might actually be easier to start over. Hair side. Hair side. Tiny. Okay, let's try that again. This time I'll consult the mesh right away here. Okay. So what I need to do is we're going to take a big brush, move everything to the left a little bit. There we go, and now I just need to move it up a little bit. Hopefully this time with more success. Just a little bit. It's like we don't need to overdo it here. Doesn't need to move up that much. I can tell that it doesn't move up that much over here, so... Alright, that should be good. Let me just consult the mesh and clean it up, but I think the location is fine. So this strand has like a little tiny curl at the bottom there, and that's what I'm taking a look at right now. I want to get that little tiny curl. So I think that little tiny curl is actually an important part of this strand. It's a small, subtle detail, but tiny little curls like that are just make hair look nice. So that's why it's important. And yep, I can see it's already coming back. I say coming because I don't think it's quite there yet, but I see it. I am starting to see it just a little bit here. I don't think that's quite right, but let me check it. Yeah, I can see. If you look closely at how it's moving, it looks like it's still shifting downward. Same with there to a lesser extent. Okay. So that means I just need to keep pushing all these vertices upward. Which is always very doable and very simple. We're just gonna push them all on up. And lift them up, make them a little bit higher here. And then perhaps they will be happy in their new location. Gotta have happy little vertices. Happy little vertices don't squirm and don't complain. Okay, I think I still want to pull everything a little bit further up. Even at the bottom there. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. So even through here, I think I still want to pull things up a little bit here. Because right now it's kind of matching where it was in the left head turn, but her head is tilting up. So I still want the strand to look like it's going up a little bit. And that's very important. So here I'm just trying to, once again, get that little curl right. Then I will consult the mesh again. Make sure that I have everything kind of going into the right place here. These little strands can be surprisingly tricky. I think part of it just might be perfectionism, but that's fine. It comes with the territory. But what makes them tricky for me is that little mistakes are much more visible on them, I think. Just because they're there hanging off and doing their thing, and when something about them is slightly off, there's nothing around them to kind of absorb the mistake. And also they tend to be thin, which means that slight bits of shifting is more visible in the line art. And it also means that they have a particular width that they want to be. And I can't really kind of hide the mistake in, once again, the areas around it. So you see the edge, the silhouette, much more clearly. So when the shape is slightly too thin or slightly too thick, it's more obvious to my eyes at least. And in this case, I felt like it was a little bit too thin, so I tried to thicken it up a bit. I'm gonna go ask the mesh for its opinion again. So I can see some areas where I think they're squeezing together a little bit more still. But otherwise, I think it's starting to look all pretty good. And that makes me happy. That does make me happy. Okay, and I think I want to push the very top of it a little bit to the left. Just for movement's sake. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. And now over here, like I said, I see the silhouette very clearly, so I want to get the shape right. And I just felt like it was not curving right in that, like, one specific spot right there. Okay, so it looks like I probably do not have it moving up quite enough. Yeah, and I see some shifting in this view. So let's try to line it up with the upper left. So we have it here. And I'm just going to curl the tip a little bit more and raise it up just a little bit more. So we're going to do this and then this. Okay, so yes, that works out. Let me check the diagonal before I go too much deeper with that. I want to make sure that strand looks good according to the original. Maybe he gets a little bit happy and curly, but it's fine. I like it. I think it's cute. And I can do what I want. Okay. So let's straighten this out now. Just get rid of some of those crunchy spots. Like you can see right through here, it goes eh, 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 eh. Just has this, it's not soft, it's not smooth. Just has this jarring angle change. And that is what we call crunchy. You don't want crunchiness in your hair. That'd just be very sad. And perhaps a sign that you need a shower. Okay, but I think that looks fine. Test it from here. Yes, yes. Like I said, maybe it gets a little bit too excited there, but for this turn, I guess I'll point it a little bit more downward. Just gotta do something like that. Kind of adjusting the rest of the strand to compensate so it doesn't get all crunchy. It's still a little bit crunchy. Before I test it, I'm going to go back in and get rid of some of those little crunchy bits through here. Okay, I don't know, it's still kind of crunchy. Okay, I'm gonna consult the mesh. Mesh has good ideas. And it's obvious that I am having trouble figuring out where these vertices should be myself, so... Okay, I see the problem. And it's like I already know that if it's looking crunchy, that it's not the right place and it won't look right when the time comes to actually go testing it, so... Why test it? Why test it when there's still obvious crunchiness? Let us solve the crunchiness first. And that'll increase the odds that everything looks right. Okay. Alright. Check to see what the mesh thinks of all of this. A little bit off in this corner here. But otherwise, I think it's probably fine. Yeah, and that already looks much better. Look how much smoother that is. Sometimes I just gotta ask the mesh for help. Gotta remember that. Okay, I need to be checking the mesh relative to the neutral state as well. Because there was a bit of squirming there that I didn't like, so I need to work that out. Looks like everything just got pushed a little bit to the left here. I think they're all pretty fine relative to each other. I just need to kind of pull them out of hiding, you know? There we go. There we go. Okay. And now it should be curling fine. Yep, I think the bottom looks good. There we go. I think that should all look pretty good once, especially once the back hair is on. Okay. Still got some time, so let's go on to the next one. Next one is gonna be this guy. The one that always gives me the most trouble. It's like these two, I'm always, like, the stuff by her face, I'm always the most perfectionist on, but I don't know, there's something about the texture in this area right here around the transition that just always gets to me. Just surprises me. Okay, the top part is looking pretty good though. At most, there's possible shenanigans with the top, very, very top part right there. Let's go take a look at that. I'm not sure if this is something that needs fixing, but it does get a little bit, condensed. So let's see here. I feel like it's moving a little bit too far to the left there, so let's pull this little light part out here. And it's like her head is turning to the left, so I want her to be going kind of left. But maybe not that far. Okay, well that's something. Not sure what's going on right there. Let me see here. Yeah, there's definitely something going on there. Okay. So I know that there's like a little red spot at the end of this strand here. And that is not going where it needs to. I guess these corners here are just really stretched out. I can accept that. That'll also affect where this back hair here connects as well. Just because I know that this red part is supposed to, like, feed into the red part here. So something like that. They're supposed to kind of go together. Okay, yeah, looking a bit better. Not nearly as much squirming. That always makes me happy. I don't like it when my vertices are squirming around. Just makes them look so sad, you know? I don't want sad vertices. These two areas, when I move them around, I want to adjust this to kind of line up with it. Maybe I should wait until I am satisfied with that area that I was adjusting there, where it connects into, but, this is fine. It's fine. I think it'll actually make it a little bit easier to tell when everything is in the right place and all is well. Okay, there we go, looking good. And it's actually looking pretty good, going a considerable distance there. I really must have poked around with it pretty far down. Okay. Let's line up this highlight here. That highlight always gives me a little bit of trouble, but I think I know what to do here. I just want to fix up the relative roundness. Yeah, there we go. Now it's all a little bit straighter, a little bit more consistent in width. Yeah. Let's see, I think I need to pull it out a little bit more because I can see that part of it is kinda getting thinner as I move her head up, so I think I want to pull out down here just a little bit more. And I think it's fine for this area to be a little bit more prominent in a left-facing turn like that. I think it should look pretty good. Yeah, something like that. So a few days ago, I posted the first of my series of weekly speed paints. I do plan to post a new one every week. It's like I was thinking about going through Inktober's prompt list, the one from 2023, if I didn't have any better ideas. But I might also try some of the Draw This in Your Style challenges stuff. I don't really consider Draw This in Your Style to be a challenge per se, but I don't know. It seems like it could be kind of a fun thing to do. Just have my minimalist speed paint take on whatever picture that I choose. So I might do either or, depending on my mood. I also saw someone comment on it that if I turned it into a sticker that they'd consider buying it, so I think I do actually have a Redbubble account. So I think I will upload all of that picture and all of my Inktober speed paints up to it. Keep it up to date. I've been kind of neglecting it for a while. So if you want a sticker of any of the stuff, well, it'll probably be there this afternoon. I'll make an announcement. So if you have some disposable income and would like to throw me a friendly dollar my way so I can keep producing content like this, I would appreciate it. Alright, I think everything through here is looking pretty good. And when I looked in this area a little bit, I think that there's supposed to be like a little point that sticks out just a little bit more there. Got a little bit flat. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. I'm excited. It's like... Look at how close I'm getting to having all that looking good here. And I think that her turns are looking pretty convincing. There's still a spot like right in here that I'm not quite sure about with that layer. You can see when I make her head move really fast like this that there's a little bit of squirming through there. So I'm gonna have to figure that out, but no, I don't know what's wrong, so I'm gonna do it later. I'll try to figure it out. For now, I'm satisfied with just continuing down the rest of these strands, and I'll worry about this when I start working on the other side. Or maybe I won't. Who knows what my brain will want to do tomorrow. Brains are just like that, you know? Don't worry about it. kind of feeling like this little red area right here is getting a little bit pinched. So I'm trying to expand it a little bit here. I don't want it to go too far out. I kind of like where all these red spots are lining up here, so I just felt like I was getting a little bit pinched. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I don't know. It's still getting a little bit pinched, isn't it? It's like it's fine from the top view, but when I go from the left view up, it looks a little bit weird. So as always, the question comes, is it a problem with the left head turn or this upward turn? I mean, I do feel like it is with the upper left here. I had to think about that for a second, but no, I do think it is a problem here. I don't really want to leave that just looking kind of pinched. I think it looks strange. But I'm not sure what's wrong is the thing. So yeah, you can see like when I move up, just how much of that squirms. Well, let's see what I can figure out here. How about this little area? Maybe something like out here. I guess to an extent it makes sense for this area to be a little bit moving into this one, since her head is turning left and that area is kind of on top of this one. Okay, it looks like I have the right idea here. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of cleaning up, but I am on the right track. So let's just keep trying. I think I've got a little bit more energy in me still, so let's see what I can figure out here. I'm just gonna try some things. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's solved a lot of the issue that was bothering me. Now let's try to get that last little bit. And indeed, it looks like what was causing it to appear pinched wasn't that I needed to pull it to the left. It was a little vertex here that just needed to come over here a little bit. Every little vertex has its place, after all. Just gotta find where it is. Can't give up on any of the little vertices. Don't want any of them to feel left out. That would just be so sad. Gotta help them out. Gotta be friendly to your vertices. I think it's always funny, just some of these areas and how they get controlled by the mesh. I don't always know what to expect. Sometimes the movement feels a little bit unpredictable to me. I don't think that's the fault of the program, though. I think that's just the fault of me being a little bit lazy while meshing it. I can tell that this must be one of the ones I did a little bit later. Because, oh boy, are there shenanigans in certain places. Oh boy, are there shenanigans in certain places. Okay. That was an experiment. It didn't go well. So we're gonna send it back up there. It's okay, I had to try it. I had to see what happened. Okay, but I think that's okay. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I think that's fine. How are we doing over here? I think I'm actually just gonna raise it a little bit higher on the upward head turn. I had to think for a second about exactly where I wanted to put that. But I think it would be a pain to have it match otherwise, so we're just gonna do it like that. See how much easier that is. And it looks fine. It's totally fine. We're just looking at that, and I'm just like, I don't think I even want to try to fix that on the upper left. We'll just do it here. It's fine. As long as it all lines up in the end, it's okay to take the easy route. It's okay. And I think lining all of this up is going to be the last thing I do for today. And tomorrow I will go a little bit further down the strand. Hopefully get all the way to the tip, and in fact, maybe if I'm lucky, I'll even finish the entire right side. Oh, wouldn't that be exciting? Hello, Yeji Kitty. How are you doing today? I'm doing well. Unfortunately, I was just getting ready to leave here. Gotta go get me some food. I'm just finishing up one part of the hair here, and then I'm gonna head out. Oh, well, thank you. It's a very cute little bear. Okay, and yep, I think that is looking pretty good. So I think that will be all from me for today. Yes. Well, I'm sorry to have to leave you so soon. But I am getting hungry, and I do have other things I need to do today. So I think I will have to leave it here for today. So, thank you all for coming. If you'd like me to take a look at your own creative projects, whether that be art, writing, coding, game design, or any creative pursuit you can think of, feel free to message or at me on the social media platform of your choice, and I will take a look and maybe leave some comments. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.